Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'm looking forward to reading your comments below. The first story today involves Manchester United. Now, not directly. The story isn't about Manchester United, but the optics are bad. It will increase the pressure, especially with everybody that is a detractor of INEOS, doesn't like what they stand for, or their actions so far as the new part owners of Manchester United. And the story that has come out today is that the New Zealand rugby team, the All Blacks, are taking legal action against INEOS. So they are suing INEOS. The co-owners of Man United the co-owners of Manchester United have accused, I don't know, that actually doesn't read right. I thought that was my brain then. I'm like, no, that doesn't read right. But there we go. Have accused Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company, so we've got to be careful here. They haven't accused Sir Jim, they've accused the company of breaching their lucrative sponsorship deal and failing to pay the first instalment of the 2005 sponsorship agreement. Now, instantly, the first thing people think about is, oh, they're broke billionaires. This proves they're broke billionaires. It means they won't keep pumping money into Man United. They don't have the resources. They don't have the facilities for that big man, is the phrase that comes to mind for a lot of people. And I've said for a while now that I'm not going to get into in-depth debates about Man United's ownership from the perspective of will it work or will it not. We'll address issues such as this as and when they arrive, but I don't like the idea of debating the potential conclusion every time there's a bit of success and every time there's a bit of failure, and whenever there's some controversy. However, what I will call out is this is a terrible, terrible look. When you read the article in the Daily Telegraph, when you read the kind of spin-off articles and other newspapers about this, so far INEOS have failed to comment. So there is no statement from them. We don't have any input from their side at this particular moment. But as I stated, the optics look bad. This applies far more pressure to Manchester United, who have already got a huge percentage of detractors. They are looking for every single negative story they can to try and damage the rebuild, to turn fans against the ownership. Now, they don't even need help turning some fans against the ownership, and it's fair that some people don't like them. Individuals and groups of people are challenging them and don't like the actions that they have undertaken. I stand with them on the rise of ticket prices as an example. Withdrawal of the £40,000 a year charity donations that goes to a charity that supports ex-players of the club as an example. So myself and many other United fans have called them out. What I will say about INEOS is this is a massive own goal. If you're going to cancel that sponsorship, I don't think you do it by failing to pay the first instalment. According to New Zealand Rugby, there's been no communication. It's just no money has turned up. They've been silent. They've been chasing. So they're suing them. Now, of course, we may hear a response, and that may not necessarily be the full truth. But they're not ahead of this. They're not ahead of this, INEOS. And it's an horrendous look. What I will say, though, and it isn't in defence of INEOS, it's just in defence of Manchester United. This is a message to the United fans saying, oh, I wish we got the Qataris. Now, you know, everyone who's regular to the terrace, you will know that I wanted the Qatari owners. But please don't kid yourself that there wouldn't be hit pieces and negative stories every single day about them as well. It would just come from a different angle. There'd be a different group of Man United fans angry. We wouldn't be having the financial issues in many people's eyes, although they can't circumvent PSR no matter how rich they are. But we may not have the financial issues, but then it would be a different group of Man United fans calling out where that money has come from. How have the debts been paid off? Oh, look, all the staff have kept their jobs, but it's being funded by blood money and it's sports washing, etc., etc. And the newspapers, they don't really care which ownership it was. They were always going to look for the negative stories. So this is where I always implore Man United fans to remember. Don't think the media are your friends here. Don't think just because you're aligned on your feelings towards INEOS, does it mean that the media has your best or the club's best interest at heart? They would go in the completely opposite direction if it was an owner that you wanted. So be very careful who you side with. You know, don't let the fox into the hen house, essentially. But INEOS have got to respond. INEOS have got to do something about this because, as I say, it's an absolutely horrendous look. There's no defending it. And the pressure now increases more on Manchester United. Now, moving on from this, and of course, I want to hear your comments. I want to get your views below. I need you to take a listen. Just take a listen to Jamie Carragher here.
There was an interview, I think, the day after, or maybe the day before it. Arteta was talking about the fact that the two young kids, Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly, don't actually get changed with the first team players. Yeah, and we've all been there where you play a few games for the first team, but even your own manager are trying to keep them like, don't let them get too carried away, but you don't actually change them. So that's the point of it about it. It's like even Arteta as a manager and probably a coaching staff was like, don't let these lads get carried away. They're not even going to be changing with the first team. You stay with your mate, stay down there, know your place a little bit. There's that. Now, whether you...
I have to stop it because it's making me cringe. What is it about pundits and Ethan Nwaneri where they don't think he can stay humble? What is it about British and English pundits who look at young Lewis Skelly, look at Ethan Nwaneri, and continually talk about this necessity to keep them hungry? Giving Nwaneri a debut at 15, even though we can see he's a colossal talent. Jason Cundy and many other pundits agreeing with it. Can he now keep his feet on the ground? Does he have the right family around him? What are his friends going to make him do now? Is he going to think he's the big man? Is he going to think he's made it? Is it the right thing to do? This is even funnier. This is even more comical. Maybe even a little bit more chilling. The reason that Ethan Nwaneri doesn't change in the dressing room with the first team is because he is a minor. That's it. As soon as he turns 18, he will be in the dressing room changing next to the other men. It's a safeguarding issue and it's a protocol that must be followed. It's as simple as that. Even though there's probably very little risk at his age in that environment of the men's first team at Arsenal of there being any problems. It's not as though he's prepubescent, but the law is the law. You know, in the same way that the day before your 18th birthday, you can't go into a pub. Did I say 18th? Day before your 18th birthday, in case I didn't say that. You cannot walk into a pub and order a pint of beer. 24 hours later, you're allowed to. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. But what is this weird agenda against these two Arsenal youngsters? Because Lewis Skelly is now being dragged into this. And by the way, if there are reports that Lewis Skelly cannot get trained in the dressing room as well, because I haven't read those personally, maybe that exists, and maybe the manager has said, actually, Lewis Skelly still gets changed with the kids. We make him change in the hallway with Ethan Nwaneri to keep him humble. If that article's out there, send it to me and I'll apologise. But when it comes to Ethan Nwaneri, it's because he's a kid. I just don't understand the money and the resources that Sky and the overlap have. How do they not have this information? Like, Carragher doesn't even need to do his own research. Literally, there's a team of people that will do it for him and provide, as in they can provide him the research. He's got to read it. He's got to digest it. But what are we doing here? What a plonker. What an absolute 24-carat gold plonker to come out here and say this. That the reason that the 17-year-old Nwaneri doesn't train with the first team is purely and simply to keep him humble. When you read the article mentioned, it says here that Mikel Arteta has revealed how safeguarding rules mean Ethan Nwaneri has to get ready in a different dressing room to his Arsenal teammates. Nwaneri has broken into the Arsenal first team this season and the 17-year-old scored against City, blah, 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 blah. His words were, Ethan cannot be in our dressing room still, which is unbelievable. He needs to get dressed somewhere else, even on a match day. So to have someone close to him that he trusts, that's confidence, that link, I think is lucky. They are very lucky to have each other. So it does suggest when you read the article that they both are actually changing in a separate place. but it's more so to give Nwaneri that company. A friend of his that's there, Lewis Skelly, it states in the article, Lewis Skelly has been allowed in the dressing room since September. But this is just about giving Nwaneri a little bit of companionship whilst he's getting changed before games at half-time as an example, because of the safeguarding rules that exist. Nowhere does it suggest that it's because the manager is trying to keep them humble. So how has he read the article? How has he done the research here and come to that conclusion? For me, it just sounds like an underlying bias towards players like Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly. I'm just putting it out there. I don't remember seeing people talk about, oh, you know what? What about the humbleness of Garnacho? What about the humbleness of Mainu? What about the humbleness of Connor Bradley? What about the humbleness of Miley at Newcastle? I don't remember seeing these conversations, these talks. Why is it with the two Arsenal youngsters? Is there suddenly an issue about humbleness? Let me know. Let me know in the comment sections below, because I just don't think you can just talk about how good they are. You can just talk about how brilliant they are. In fact, there doesn't seem to be any type of arrogance about the two of them at all. A confidence, yes. A high level of ability, absolutely. If you've actually listened to Lewis Skelly's mum speak, and we've all seen her on sort of clips recently, why would anybody have any worries about young Lewis Skelly with a mother who is as articulate, as down-to-earth, as grounded as she portrays herself to be? And I'm taking her on her face value. So I just don't understand it personally. But maybe you can give me a view or an opinion that will illuminate this situation for me, because I'm genuinely at a loss. Until next time, people, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.